Hello and welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Timo Albers Daily. In this episode, I'm joined by stock car racer Brooke Kitson. Coming from a family of racers, her dad was a national champion once upon a time, so it wasn't much of a surprise to see Brooke following in his footsteps. We caught up recently to chat about what it was like being born into this world, how she found her place in the stock car scene, the highs and lows of competing in the category so far, her ambitions for 2026, and much more. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi Brooke, thank you very much for being here today. First of all, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. So we're just saying we've
Good.
both had busy days and
Yes,
finally get into the business end of less
literally.
flashy Saturday night. It feels like we're
Yeah.
not out doing stuff. We're in here doing motorsport business, so
Yeah, no,
never stops.
literally. We've been in the workshop all day, so just come straight here, come straight on the call, and yeah, so it never stops really.
Live and breathe motorsport, which sort of leads me into my
Literally.
cliche first question that I ask everyone. What did first get you interested in motorsport?
So it was from my dad. Well, actually, it runs in my family. It's run in my family for a very long time. But the first thing that inspired me was my dad. I'd like to say he used to be quite a big name in the stock car scene. So yeah, from watching him race from since when I was born, it's kind of like, yeah, it's literally been a given. Well, when I was younger, I actually was like, oh. No, I don't think I've really caught on to this like motorsport, like wanting to race sort of thing. And then when I went into secondary school, I was like, oh, how cool would I look if I started racing? Everyone would be like, oh my God, like look at her. So that's what kind of brought me into it. And as well, the fact that my dad had literally done it since I was born. So I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna be so cool. I'm gonna like race and do all this. And then I've never been able to get out of it really. I don't think I could ever see myself not racing. So here we are, really.
I do often describe motorsport as a bit like the mafia, very easy to get in, and then once you're in,
Literally,
very difficult to get out
it's
again.
very difficult to get out, and I could never ever like see myself like coming out of the stock car scene. It's all I've ever known. So that was my life, really.
I probably know the answer to this question, but why stock cars? And do you think it would have been any different had your dad not been in stock cars? Do you think he would have gone into whatever he would have been in, or do you think it would have always been stock cars?
So my dad's raced a lot of different variations of stock cars. There's lots of different formulas within the stock cars. So he actually started off in something called Brisker F2s. And ever
Hmm.
since I was younger, I was always like, I want to be world champion like him in F2s. It was a lot easier, well, not easy, but a lot easier to be world champion in them days because it wasn't so much about money, it was about like talent. But now
Hmm.
obviously it's got very money dominated as well. I still think it'll be nice one day, but I'm not quite sure. He's raced F2s, he's raced F1s, he's raced bangers, he's raced pretty much everything. But when I first started, I started in a junior formula called something called Brisker Mini Stocks. He's never actually raced them. And when I got to 16, you have to retire. So it was kind of the question of, well, what do I race now? And I didn't know whether to race F1s or F2s because I was like, I want to be a hero like my dad in F2s because, you know, as you do, you want to bring the name through the formula again and be as big as what my dad was. But Brisker F1s, I mean, I would personally say they're a totally different league. And it's always that formula that everyone wants to have a go in. Everyone wants to have a go in it. It's like the I don't know what the word is. I'd say it's like the top of stock
The
cars.
pinnacle.
Yes. So the car was sat there. He does stock cars as a business. So the car was
Hmm.
sat there and I've got the
It's kind of
opportunity to race
staring
it.
at you.
So yeah. So I was like, I've got the opportunity, you know, just go for it. Like there's a lot of other girls that also, well, there's about I'd say there's five right now that race, and there's about last year there was like 100 licensed drivers. So the girls out there, like I just looked up to them so much, and I was like, if if anyone like I can do it. Let's just go. Let's just send it. Like, is it gonna be that bad?
Go
And
big or
now
go home.
I'm in there and yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna get out.
Hmm. It doesn't sound like you particularly want to either, so that's the
No,
important
I
thing.
don't. I'd have a go. I'd race anything, like circuit cars, like whatever. Like I'd have a go in anything, like literally. Like put any sort of race car in front of me. Yeah, I would race it basically.
Proper pure-blooded motorsport driver, I think, is what that is, the definition
Literally,
of.
yeah.
Um,
Literally.
if we take it back a bit first, though, tell me about your first motorsport experience when you were actually in the car. Because, like you say, you grew up pretty much in that world. But tell me
Yeah.
about that first time you went racing. What was that like? Because I'm guessing that stands out as a memory.
Well, if we're talking about first ever going racing, I mean, I've got so many memories as a kid, like just going to the tracks, playing in the dirt. We have this little track that my dad made. So I
Hmm.
also have a little sister that races the junior formula that I used to race. She actually races in the exact same
Definitely a
car that
family
I
thing.
used to race. Yeah. So basically my dad built this little track and we had all these little like stock car models and I just remember like playing in the dirt with them. We used to have like little dinosaur grabbers. We just yeah, we're always just getting our hands dirty like since we were literally born. But the first ever time I'd say in a sort of stock car or race car, I was actually 12 years old. I very first started off in a season in a formula called Junior Stocks Karts. Both of my cousins used to race them, and my dad was dogging me for ages. And he was like, "Oh, just have a go," because he really wanted me to race. Because he had me and my little sister, my oldest brother used to race as well. So he wanted to bring me and my sister into it. He always had it. He was dogging us for ages. Like, come on, like you've got a race. Like, what about if you just had to go in this car? And I was always like,
Hmm.
no, no. But then I finally ended up cracking, and I was like, right, I'm gonna do it. So anyway, I mentioned to him that I wanted to have a go in this formula called Junior Stocks Karts, and I think literally within the like month, it was nearly Christmas. I had a go in it in
Good timing.
October. Yeah, I had a go in one, a hire car in October, and then I got one for Christmas. So he was not messing about with that. But my first ever experience, I mean, I was so nervous. Like literally, I went out there and it is a nerve-wracking thing. Like, you know, I was so excited, but like every single person will say that race, when the race starts, you literally forget about everything. Like nothing else matters. Like you can't even focus on anything else that's going on. Like you're in that race and that's all that matters right now. Like what's in front of you. But it was extremely nerve-wracking, as you can imagine, like a little 12-year-old going around with all these cars flying past her. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? But as my dad would say, I literally came off and I was like, I can't wait for my next race. And it's just never stopped since then. You know, I he bought me my own car, I did a season, and then I went on to, you know, a harder formula, which was more contact, and it's just yeah, it's just never stopped. But yeah, it was nerve-wracking, but like every single race is. But you know, you push on, and the adrenaline rush is probably one of the best things about the sport. So yeah,
I've had that with people before where they don't necessarily remember the result they got in that first race, but they remember
yeah,
the feeling, the adrenaline, and that feeling, as you say, of just everything else
yeah,
just disappears and you're just in the zone in that moment. And like you say, you
literally.
came out of it and go, I don't know what the heck just happened, but I want to do that
But
again.
yeah, but when's my next race? People will say to me after I've been on track, like, "Oh my God, like this person when they did that," and I'm like, "What? Like, what on earth are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, like when that guy hit you like that, or did you see that? Like it was right in front of you," and I was like, "No, like I have no idea what you're talking about right now because I'm just so like focused on what
So
is
you've got
going
such
on."
blinkered vision on just getting round the thing
Literally,
that you just,
yeah,
literally everything else doesn't matter. If it's not in front
yeah.
of you, it's not there.
And because, like, say anything in life, like when adrenaline's going, like you remember stuff, but then after that adrenaline rush is gone, you forget everything.
Hmm.
So, literally, when people are asking me after, like, oh, like this, I'm like, I'm sorry, I've not got a clue what you're on about, but all right, sounds
I'll
decent.
take your
But
word for it.
Yeah, but I've got no idea what you're talking about.
You're saying as well, because anyone who's even watched just a couple of clips of stock car racing can figure out
Yeah,
pretty quickly. It's a contact sport, let's say. Let's put it like that. It's
definitely.
they're not shy. Um,
No.
what was that like the first time that you kind of did you notice that straight away when you got into that, or was it something where it took? I can't imagine it took you by surprise because as you say,
No.
you grew up around all of that sort of thing. But did it
Yeah.
still maybe shock you a little bit when it happened the first time? You go, oh, it feels a lot different to how it looks.
Well, growing up, I've seen my dad and other people in various crashes, and I'm like, oh my God, that is so scary. Like, I don't know how I'm ever gonna like be able to do that. But when you're in the moment and when you're lining up for a race, you just have to accept. Like, if anything happens, then I'm putting myself like out to anything that's gonna happen. Like, you just hope that it doesn't. Like, you hope
Hmm.
that after a weekend you're going to be able to function on a Monday because yeah, you the thing is like I said, when you line up for a race, you're just knowing yourself that something bad could happen, but you just go along with it. It is nerve-wracking. I think that is what the most nerve-wracking thing about it is. The thought of unknowingly you don't know whether you're going to make it out of that race or not. Like, and there's a lot of people that haven't, but
Hmm.
that's what you put yourself out for, and the thrill of the sport, you get on with it, you crack on. But I think that, thought of anything that can happen like that, it just goes over your head until it actually happens and you're like, oh, this
Well, that was what I was
hurts.
going to ask. Is it a case of, like you say, you accept it, but you also partly think that's not going to happen to me, or is it something where after it happens a certain number of times, you're just as used to it as you can be?
Well, it's just I mean, sometimes people put themselves safe because obviously what we race is a full contact sport. Sometimes if someone was following someone else in that moment, you're
Because
kind
there's
of,
degrees of contact as well. They'll just be, oh,
yeah,
stuff just happens, and then other times it's proper walloping
yeah.
stuff.
So, sometimes if someone's like following somebody else in, then they're kind of like putting themselves out there for getting hurt
Mm.
because sometimes people have tried to follow other people in and their car or themselves have actually getting more injured. Like sometimes some people do silly things on purpose and they do end up getting hurt from it. But yeah, that thought of unknowing, it's it's scary, but it's the sport you love. Like you do just crack on and get on with it and just hope that it isn't gonna happen to you. But yeah, like you said, when it does happen, you're kind of like, ah, ow, that hurts. And it does knock people's confidence. You do see, and in my career, there has been times where I've had some crashes, especially in my junior formula, and it just kind of knock your confidence. And you can never really race the same again. But like you said, you
Did it
just
knock your
keep
confidence
pushing.
in the way of you think it was your fault when it wasn't necessarily, or how does it knock the confidence in
So
that?
say if like anyone or myself has had a
Mm.
bad crash and you end up getting quite hurt, you you just see people can't really race like bounce back the same because they're always that little bit more frightened and you never kind of push the same as what you did before because in the back of your head you're kind of thinking, oh, like I don't want to get hurt like that again
Mm.
because it is nerve-wracking and if you've been hurt before like pretty badly,
You want
which
to
you
avoid it.
can, yeah, you want to avoid it at all costs because you know exactly how that feels and you do not want that to happen again. And over time, your confidence does end up being built back up. But yeah, I definitely say some crashes do really knock, well, myself and other people's
Mm.
confidence in any sort of sport, really.
How did you, let's say the first time that happened to you seriously, where it knocked the confidence, what did you do to course correct, as it were?
So I just kind of kept racing really. Obviously I knew in myself like I don't expect big things from myself because that's just happened like especially as a kid because that was, I mean, I say as a kid like I'm literally 17 now, so it was only a few years ago. But when you have a big crash, you just kind of accept it. And I always accepted the fact that I was never going to, the next meeting, I wasn't going to be competing again, because my confidence had just been knocked, and I wasn't even if anyone else was expecting things out of me, I would never sit there and be like, I need to just like properly get on with it and need to be exactly as quick as I was last time, because I knew that that isn't reality, and what people would make it out to be, it's just like, oh, you just get on with it and you just need to be as good as you are before, because that isn't reality, and things like that do
You were willing
really.
to give yourself the time to get back there rather than trying to rush the
Yeah,
process.
exactly. And that's what people need to do, because you start affecting your own like well-being when you start
Mm.
kind of expecting yourself to be as good as what you were before, and then you go out, and anyone that races can agree that if you have a bad race, then it really does just knock your well-being,
And you
and you
can fall
just.
into that trap of putting more pressure on yourself, and it will
Yeah,
then spiral
exactly.
into just causing yourself to make more mistakes that you didn't make previously.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people as well that even spectate at races never understand the amount of pressure that drivers put on themselves to exceed every single weekend. It is so difficult. And that's something that no one will understand. But well, the racers will understand, and the
Mm.
spectators do understand, but there is that minority that like sit on
But
Facebook
again,
and
I
they're
think that
like,
the spectators, they'll only understand up to a point, because I think it is only something you can truly understand if you've been
exactly,
in the
yeah.
car yourself.
Yeah, and people will sit on Facebook like, oh, like this person was so bad today. And it's just like, hold on a minute. Like 2 weeks ago, they were literally in like a life-changing accident, and now they can't just bounce back from that. So
Memories are
yeah,
short in motorsport.
literally. But yeah, like you said, it is something kind of racers will only relate to. But yeah, you just kind of, if anything like that does ever like happen to anyone, you just need to know in yourself that you're not going to be able to bounce back like you did before, and you shouldn't expect millions of things from yourself, because it is going to knock your confidence. And it's happened to me, and a lot of people in racing. People have had them times where they're like, that really, like, I've noticed in myself, I've not been able to race the same since so and so. So yeah, you've just got to allow yourself that time, and in time you'll bounce back even better. So yeah.
I'm intrigued as well. Like you say, you grew up around this world of stock car racing, but then getting involved with it in the way that you have, obviously in the driver's seat instead of just, let's say, as a spectator or as a sporting team member and general family
Yeah.
member of everyone else who's racing. How did you find initially fitting in to that world and finding your place? Was it natural and just a bit of an extension to it, or did it take a little bit of figuring out? Because you were saying earlier, was it five other women last year competing in it? So
Yes.
strangely a high number, but also not a high number at all, depending on
Yeah.
which way you look at it. So how did that factor in, if it did at all?
Well, when I raced my junior formula, there was actually quite, well, I say quite a lot again. There was about, I
By the
want to say
normal
like eight,
standards.
8 or 9 of us out of like the 60 odd boys that were racing.
Yeah.
But we kind of had our group of friends, and the thing with, I will relate this to stock cars because I don't know anything else, but
Yeah.
everyone is just friends. Like it's just a big like family, and everyone
Mm.
just gets on. So in the junior formula, I would definitely say like there wasn't as much pressure, and you always get them people that are like you're not as good because you're a girl. Like you always get them people, and you always get them people as well. Like say if we ever did like a parade lap or anything, like when they see it's a girl or something, like they always be like, oh my god, like it's a girl. And it's like it's
They've never
actually a
seen
really
one
nice.
before in their lives.
Literally like, oh my god, it's a girl racing and they've just got first place. but but no, it can be a really nice feeling, because sometimes people like do walk past you and they'll stop and have a chat, like especially like when I was like younger, if like little like girls came up to me with their parents for the first time, I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. But
Mm.
now I've progressed onto kind of one of the most competitive, motorsport formulas in the UK. It is
Mm.
very, there is a lot of pressure. And compared to every other driver, we can start at 16 if you've had some prior experience. But I think if not, then it's either 17 or 18. I can't remember. You basically have to have like a test day to see if like you're able to drive with these people basically. Because obviously when you're 16, like you're racing these like beasts of a car, but you can't even drive on the road yet. Like
Mm.
it's
It's always
crazy.
the amusing thing with racing drivers. They'll go
Literally.
at 200 miles an hour on a circuit, but they can't do the
Yeah.
30 miles an hour on the road.
Literally like 800 horsepower and fully contact sport, like absolutely mental that we're not even trusted to drive on a UK road. But it is definitely a lot more pressure in kind of this adult formula for me because first of all, I'm very much the type of person that always wants to do well all the time and I put pressure on myself anyway. But when there's a lot more followers of the sport and there's a lot more people that also have things to say and you know that people are gauging their opinions on you every single time, every lap, every meeting, people are watching. And I suppose that's not just for being a female. I suppose some males will feel the same as well. But in general, being a female, it's kind of 50-50 because people people will not appreciate, what's the word I'm looking for, people will praise you because like they're like, oh my goodness, like you're doing amazing, like against all them people there's a lot more people than you would ever think that come up to people like me or any other female in the sport and are like, you're doing amazing. But then the other half are very judgy and they're like, oh well, girls will never be as good as the boys and stuff like that, which is standard what some people have to say,
Science
which
doesn't back that up, but sure, let's go with it.
literally, yeah, like just be quiet, like genuinely, like no one cares. Like I am racing this car and you
Mm.
have just paid an admission fee to watch me. So
Get back over
no.
there and shush.
Yeah, like off you pop, mate. But yeah,
We're both
it
thinking
can
stronger
be,
word, but we'll behave.
yeah, literally. Let's keep it PG. But no, it can be really daunting, and I'm not gonna lie, like it really does knock your confidence sometimes when you know that people are deep down just thinking like you don't belong here, but you just kind of stand for the girls, especially like I do. I always make sure to have now all my cars in pink, like everyone knows this is a girl and she is bossing it, basically.
I'll go back to what you were saying before because it related to what we were talking about a little bit earlier too. You're saying that you you don't expect too much from yourself, but you do put pressure on yourself, and then you have the confidence that gets knocked occasionally. How the heck do you balance all of that to not then lose the plot every time you go out on track?
Well, I, yeah, I do lose the plot quite a lot. I must say that. I mean, anyone that has
Maybe
walked
that's the
past,
secret, just lose the plot over and over, and then it just kind of balances
literally,
out a little bit.
yeah. But no, I mean, as a lot of people see, like racing in general, but stock car racing specifically,
Mm.
it is a lot of pressure, and you know, a lot of people are like with their dads, and you do fall out all the time. I fall out of my dad 90% of the meetings I go to because we're all just, my dad's rooting for me. He knows I can do it. I'm like stressed out because something's just happened on track and I don't know what the hell's going on. And I'm like, this is doing this, this is doing that, and I don't know what to do. So it is a lot of stress, and sometimes I can't balance it, to be honest. And sometimes I do end up losing the plot a little bit, but doesn't everyone at some point? But yeah, the truth is, yeah, I do lose the plot sometimes. And you know, it's a given because it's high pressure. And, you know, sometimes feelings just take over. But
I
yeah, I
suppose at
do
least
try.
the way you're going about it is that you don't pretend that it's all hunky dory and you let those feelings out
Exactly.
as such. And
Yeah,
because I think you do see that in not every sport, never mind just motorsport, people who will let it boil over and it will then impact them in a short, medium, and long term
exactly.
basis. Whereas, again, maybe, I don't know, we're sort of half joking about it, but the more meltdowns you have, the better sort of thing, because at least you're getting that energy out in a
Exactly.
less worse way than it could be presented otherwise.
Yeah. And as well, I make sure that on my YouTube, I'm 100% authentic, or try to be as authentic as I can and show not so glorious side, because
Hmm.
I will keep clips in of like me getting angry, like me shouting or me being upset, because that is actually what has happened. Like, do you know what I mean? This is real, like raw footage of what I'm actually feeling like. in a race day. And one of the videos I did, the saloon video, I was ready to pack up and go home because
Mm.
I just felt so terrible because I normally race Brisker F1s and I had to go in these cars called 2 litre saloons. And I went out and I was like, oh, like I'm gonna be like so good, like I might even win a race and all this. And then I actually went out and I was like, this is so difficult. Like this is more difficult than what I thought. And I made sure to put it like as a point in my YouTube video, like I thought that I was going to be so amazing, and I actually wasn't. And the day didn't go as smoothly as what I thought it did, and it really impacted me. And actually, I did just want to leave, and I
Mm.
wasn't feeling it at all. But I pushed through, and actually, we ended up ending on some sort of a high, and I actually did end up doing really well. But yeah, it's super important to kind of notice them feelings, and as well, this is a bit cheeky to say, but a lot of people in stock car racing, they're like, 40-year-old plus. Like, do they really care about feelings? They just crack on. And that's
Yeah,
that's
I get you.
something that kind of, and then it all ends up boiling up, and then they end up screaming at everyone, and bloody yeah, it just gets crazy. So people that can actually accept that this is how they feel, and this is that. Like I come off after a race and I do get emotional, but then I'm like, right, this has happened. Why has this happened? Let's fix it and do this, and then just go out for the next race and just see how it goes.
I think that's the right approach because you kind of over the course of the race weekend, let's say, you go through then all the motions so that when you roll around to Monday morning and you go,
Literally.
"Oh," but it's all out of the system then, and you can go
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Let's get on with it now. There's nothing in theory that should be on your mind still, or if it is, at least you've got all of the
Yeah,
nervous energy or frustration or whatever out of the system, and it might still play on
exactly.
your mind a
Yeah.
little bit, but you're now fixed on okay, what's the practical solution
Yeah.
for dealing with this?
Yeah. And especially like if something happened or like something wasn't right with the car or whatever, then we'll come back to the yard in the week and we'll be like, right, so now we need to look at this, and this because this isn't right or it wasn't performing how we want it to. So let's change it, try again the next weekend and see how it goes. So it's the only thing you can do really. But yeah.
And then tell me a little bit about what you've done since that first moment where you were a 12-year-old and going, what the heck have I signed up for here to kind of
Literally.
present day up until the end of last year? What's the nutshell version of what you've been doing since then? Because it seems like quite a lot when you just say even just a cursory
Yeah.
glance at you.
Yeah. So basically, to try and put it in short, so when I was 12, I had a go in a formula called a junior stocks kart. And I did one hire meeting, and then my dad actually ended up buying me one for Christmas. And then this
But
was
that
in
would have been a pain in
2020.
the ass to put under the tree.
So basically, he was like, "Oh, like put a nice outfit on and come outside. I need to surprise your mum with something." So I was like, "All
It's a
right,
well
like."
played idea there, that one. I like how
Yeah,
you
I
went
know.
about that.
So I was like, right, okay. So I came outside. I'd like put some decent clothes on, not like my bloody reindeer freaking pajamas or whatever I was wearing. I don't bloody know. And I went outside and he like pulled this sheet off, and I was like, oh my God. Like I didn't even think that he would have like even thought about
It got
getting
you
me
good.
one. Yeah, literally. I was like, oh my God, like what the hell? And then I was just kind of thinking like, wow, this is real. I have to actually race now. Like there's no getting out of it now. Like this is real life. But yeah, so I ended up doing that in the 2020 season, which we didn't really end up doing that many meetings because of COVID, and that really restricted us, like I think it did with literally everything in the world, basically. And so then after doing that, I thought, to be honest, I ended up going from novice the whole season because I was that nervous. I was that scared.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, I don't know how many races I did, probably about 10 or something, maybe even less than that. But I was like, right, it's time to progress to something even better. So we bought this a car for this formula called National Mini Stocks.
Hmm.
So this this was where proper hitting and proper stock car racing was at. I was
If you were
bloody
nervous before, you were going to be a little bit
yeah,
more now.
Exactly. I was like, oh my goodness, but I wanted to do it. Like, I was nervous, but I knew I wanted to do it. So I ended up doing that from 2021. So I did 2021, 22, 23, and then I finished when I was 16 in May in 2024. So that's 3.5 seasons. So I was quite successful in them. So we work on a grading system. So novice, you start at the back and you'll put black and white crosses on so people know
Hmm.
not to hit you. And then you'll start at white and then you'd go to yellow,
I
blue,
like that there's
red.
that at least intention to not be hit to start off with. Go, let's be nice to them at the start, or try to at the very least. So
Yeah.
do your best
Well,
not to.
a lot of people like it's so intense that they don't even realize like who the person is in front of them. You just think, bosh, like get
Yeah,
out the way, get out of my way. They don't care who it is. I mean, some people even hit other people with novice boards on, so that wasn't great. I definitely had a few crashes while I was a novice. I mean, a lot of them were kind of my fault because I got in the way a little bit. But anyway, we work on a tiered system. So we go white, yellow, blue, red, and then superstar. So this is the color grade of our roof. This is in any stock car formula, you have a roof grade. So whites start at the front to try and give them the best opportunity. And then you go to yellows, blues, reds, supers, who then have a bit of a gap in their grade. And then they go that little bit further away. So the higher
hmm.
grade you are, the harder it is for you to win the race,
Prove
basically,
how
because you're
good you
further
are,
back.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's all added up by how many points you get in a season. So the more points you have, the higher grade you go.
Hmm.
Um, so I ended up getting to Superstar, which was the highest grade in my junior formula, which was absolutely amazing. Like having them flashing lights on my car. So Superstar, you get flashing lights. Having them flashing lights on my car was like the best thing ever. I felt it was so special. I was like, oh my God, like I've actually made it. Like that was literally I've made it moment. It was
You've proven it to
crazy.
yourself.
Exactly, yeah. After that little shy, like 12-year-old that first started to now, I have flashing lights on my car. I am a superstar. I am starting at the back of this grid. Oh my
Literally,
goodness.
definition is superstar. You can't. You're not even just trying to be
Literally.
cute about it. It's what
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah. So I also ended up winning in my time in National Mini Stocks. I won Queen of Shale twice. So I was the highest female point scorer on our shale tracks. And then I also won Queen of Tarmac as well, which is the highest point scorer on tarmac. So that was some of my biggest moments. And I had various wins and a lot of second and third places. So in a nutshell, I'd say I was pretty successful in that formula.
I have
And
to agree
then
with you.
thank you. But yeah, so then when I got to 16, I was like, what do we do now? So anyway, the F1 was sat there and I was like, let's just go for it. Let's go. Like I have the opportunity to do something right now that somebody else would be dying at the opportunity to have a go. So it would just be stupid if I didn't basically. So I was like, let's just do it. Like
So you
what's
got
the
that far. You might as well.
exactly what's the worst thing that could happen? Let's just go for it.
Always,
So yeah,
always how the start of a great story starts. What's the worst that can happen?
literally, like let's just go for it, let's just send it. So yeah, I ended up going into Briscoe F1s in the middle of 2024, and well, what are we now? Start of 2026. That's what I've been doing ever since. So I'm currently white grade, and I've been this close. When I say this close, I genuinely mean it to winning a race.
I think
Anyone
I've seen
that
that
like
video.
anyone that follows stock cars and have followed any of these races where I've been this close, my highlight moment was Raceway Venray, which is in Holland. That was last August. I raced there, and in one particular race, I was one corner away from winning the race. I didn't even realize. I thought there was still 2 laps to go. And when I went into that corner, someone hit me really, really hard. And I was like, God, that
So
was a bit
is it
aggressive.
probably best in that moment that you didn't know that it was the last corner? Because I don't know if that
Yeah,
sort of which is worse.
because
I mean, they're both bad things to know either
literally, they're
way.
both
But
bad things anyway. But I feel like if I would have known it was last corner, I probably would have bottled it because I would have been like, "Oh my God, like this is actually happening," and then I get taken out anyway, which is what happened. So anyway, we went into this corner. Thought, God, they've just hit me really hard. Like, what was that for? Anyway, I look forward and I see them waving the flag, and I'm like, "Oh." And when I say look forward, I was technically I was looking sideways actually because I was like
I
this.
say,
They were all going forward. I was sat like this. I thought I was going to roll over. Basically, I got taken out. And yeah, I was this close to winning a race. But like if anyone who's watched me in stock cars, and I think for myself, I'd say I've been not successful because the successful bit hasn't come yet, but my confidence is definitely a lot higher than what I thought it would have been. And I've achieved a lot more places and I've been consistent with a lot more drivers and keeping up with a lot more people than what I ever thought that I would ever have done. So I'm basically going into this season all or nothing because now I've set up all my YouTube stuff. I've got two cars now. So I've got a lot of people that race F1s. They've got a shale car and they've got a tarmac car. So shale is like dirt racing, and tarmac is on obviously tarmac. So people normally have two different cars because they're set up completely differently.
Mm.
So I'm now going to be running two cars this season. Obviously, I've started up all my YouTube and blah blah blah. So basically, we're going all or nothing and hoping for the best. And hopefully, I can win that race because if I don't, I actually think I will crash out because what? Like, how have I not won this race yet? But yeah.
I was going to say, what was your favourite moment, but you kind of built that into the answer
Yeah.
for the
I
recap.
think
So,
I do have a absolute favourite moment from racing
okay,
though. Um so my favourite ever moment was when I used to race national mini stocks and I won my first ever race. So
that's got
this
to be pretty
was
satisfying.
yeah, so this came to an absolute surprise. I can't remember. It was at the end of my first season, and that first season I started off of novice for May, June, July. I started off novice for 3 whole months because I was so scared to go off the front. So that was in the July I first ever went off the front. Um, and then 2 months later, I won my first ever race to complete surprise at one of my favourite tracks, Skegness Raceway. And when I
Mm.
won the race, my dad came onto track and there's this photo that I'll have to send you. Maybe you can like insert it somewhere. I don't know. But there's this photo of like me and my dad like runs up to me and hugs me. And by far my favorite ever like moment racing in stock
If
cars
there's a book on your
ever.
career in the future, that's going in the gallery in
Literally,
those
that I
photos.
am taking that moment to my grave. I'm not joking. That one, my favorite ever memory.
I can say as well with everything being set up as it is now for this year, and with how close you've come, and how you were saying earlier that you lack confidence doesn't seem like the right word, but sometimes lack confidence or don't quite think you're
Yeah,
capable of it. The, does that change for you going into this season, knowing that okay, it hasn't happened yet, that first race win at this level, but
yeah,
you got that bloody close without even realizing it, and
literally.
you kind of go, okay, if I can do that, and if it's as well with all these people who, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing on the whole, everyone there is probably older than you, so have
Yeah,
that on their
there
side
is.
advantage wise. You must be sort of feeling as if, okay, does it take the pressure off in that way? Because in the one sense, you're already that close, and also you're still at the start. Really, I know you've been racing for a few years
Yeah,
already, but it probably doesn't feel like that sometimes because you feel like,
yeah,
oh, I could have had it already. So why has it not happened?
yeah.
Does it help your mental state with that sort of thing, or does it just kind of
Certainly.
annoy you more?
Yeah, so whenever something bad happens, I always tell myself like I've got my whole life to go yet in stock cars.
Mm,
Like I like my dad. I don't think my dad will ever retire ever. Like I don't think he has it in him, and I think that's the exact same attitude that I have. Like I don't think
mhm.
I will ever retire from stock cars. So whenever
Another
anything bad
70 odd years to
happens,
go. Then.
literally, whenever anything bad happens, I'm like, okay, like, don't stress. I've got a million other times to try and do this. So, yeah, I kind of just try and live my life like I've got so much more opportunity out there. So, just it's all right. Like, if it wasn't this time, then hopefully it'll be next time. But yeah.
But it's not as easy to accept that in the moment when it's just happened. Though.
No, no, it's not. Like I said earlier, I do get quite flustered sometimes and quite angry, but then I kind of look back at a situation. I'm like, right, I've got time. Like, just stop. Like, it's gonna
I
be all
think at
right.
least that annoyance with it shows that you do care. and you
Yeah,
do want it, and
exactly.
it is important to you, and this is where you're supposed to be because you wouldn't be reacting like it otherwise.
Exactly, like, and it's just life in general, really, isn't it? Like, you wouldn't get angry about something if you didn't care. Like, and
Hmm.
yeah, I would definitely say I do care a lot, and I go into every race, and that is what I will be doing this season. Going into every single race, just trying to win that race, regardless of no matter what. But like everyone will say, a race, you just cannot judge what's going to happen. Like, literally you'll go into a race, like a lot of times I'll go into a race first corner, like someone will spin out in front of me, I'm sat on the infield or something, and then I have to start at the back if there's not like a full-on restart, and then I'll be at the back. Like, you just never know what's going to happen in that race. You never know if that race, if you're going to roll over and then you're going to get hurt or blah blah blah. Like, you just never know. You just kind of be like, oh yeah, like all of this stuff could happen, but let's just go. Let's just try win, and yeah.
Well, I think that's the beauty of motorsport, isn't it, across any and all disciplines and series? Because you look back at F1, for example, in 2023, it was one of the less exciting years, let's put it like that, with how Red Bull and Verstappen were on form. But you still get those five lights at the start of a race, and you think maybe this time something different will happen. And
Exactly.
then you get that in Singapore, and everyone goes nuts about it. And you think you just need that one time to kind of reignite that hope or that
Yeah.
possibility that anything can happen, and it usually does, as the saying goes. So if
Yeah.
that's what happens there, then stock car racing, you're like, yeah, you definitely can't predict what is going to
Exactly.
be
Yeah.
happening here
You just
in the
never
first
know
quarter.
what's
Never
gonna
mind over a whole
happen.
season.
Yeah, no, you never know what you're putting yourself up for in that one race. Anything can literally happen, and you just go along with it. Like, yeah, this could happen. Yeah, let's just go. Let's just go.
If that was your favorite moment just now that we were talking about, then on the flip side of that, what's been the most challenging moment for you so far, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, my most challenging moment.
We'll ask you again in 10 years and see if it's changed.
Yeah, literally. My most challenging moment. Mm, mm, mm,
We're going into the
mm.
weeds here. I've got you now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm actually stuck at that. I mean, the most recent one I can think is when I went in that saloon and I thought that I was going to be amazing, and
Hmm.
then I actually wasn't. But I don't know. I'd probably have to say like a crash that's like set me back. Like when, especially in my junior formula. So basically, I went to Scotland once, first time I ever raced at Scotland, and I was already terrified to race at this track anyway. And it's one of the biggest tracks that
And so, what was it
stock
about it that
cars,
terrified you?
that it was so fast, and
Okay.
also when you go round the corner, you don't normally on tarmac you're trying to get as close to that curb as you can going around the corner,
Hmm.
but at this track you drive near the fence, which means there's a lot more chance that you're going to get put in that fence. So at this one particular track, I was already terrified to race there anyway, and in my second race, my starter switch, which we have on the car, they're terrible anyway. It just decides to pack up, and my car just like slowly like died as it was like turning off. And I was
Lovely.
like, there's nothing I can do about this right now.
You're
Like,
just a
what?
passenger at that point.
Literally, I'm literally the passenger, and I'm like, okay, so my car is literally rolling and it's about to stop dead in the middle of this track, and it is, and it was like right at the end of the straight as well. And as you can imagine, obviously you're flat
Perfect
out.
location.
Literally, you're flat out down the whole straight, and just at the end,
And
you're
here's this
the
thing we can use
fastest
to
point.
slow down now. We don't have to go on the paces. We're going
Literally.
to drive into this thing.
So anyway, I ended up rolling my car into the stupidest position ever, the middle of the corner. So
Impressive.
yeah. So anyway, of course, someone jacked me up, and it bloody hurt. Let's just say that. And anyway, my legs ended up getting like traps under the seat, and I still have a mark on my leg from it now. But basically it like damaged all these like nerves in my leg, and I actually couldn't walk properly for ages. I could barely get out of my car. Like I was sat there bawling my eyes out. I was like, oh my God. Because it was very painful. If it happened to me right now, I think I would still start crying because it was very, very painful. But again, I don't think I've ever like, well, not ever, but I think that knocked my confidence a lot. And that was one of the things I was referring to earlier. Because when
Mm,
something like that happens and, it's not just a what if anymore, it's like this has
it's
happened.
happened.
And I was very hurt, and like all the ambulance came over when I came back to the truck, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't even walk, like what do I do? So they ended up having to like give me crutches, and I was like, oh, now I just look like a fool. But yeah, I think it's that realization of like when something bad happens and you're like, oh my goodness, like this is real. But overcoming it, I think,
Mm.
again, like I was touching on earlier, like I tell myself I don't expect myself to be as amazing as I was before. Do you know what I mean? But I just kept showing up as much as I can and as best as I can, because as well, that was in my second ever season. So I wasn't even like at my like optimum like speed or whatever, like talent
You're
yet
still
or
figuring
whatever.
it out.
Exactly. So I just kept showing up. And as time went on, I progressed and progressed. And then I ended up being very, very quite successful. And actually, the day before that, at a track called Lochgelly, I
Mm.
won my first race since I'd won my. This makes no sense now. But I won my first race since I'd won the last one, which was at the end of the previous year. So that was like an amazing moment because there was also a yellow flag, which were literally my least favorite thing. So basically, when something happens on a
And
track,
so
there's
when
a
the
yellow
going's
flag.
good, you don't want a yellow flag. Then because you're like, damn, it's gonna
Literally,
be taken away
yeah.
from me.
Yeah, it like bunched us all up again. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna lose it now. Like everything, like all the car lengths that I've pulled away, and now I'm just gonna lose it. And then I ended up winning, and I was like, oh my goodness, like how have I just done that? And then we go into the next day, and then I end up getting really hurt, and I can't walk, and I'm like, oh, so that's a bit of a contrast. But no, I just kept showing up and didn't expect too much of myself, even if other people kind of told me different. I didn't expect anything more of myself because of what had
Well,
happened.
I think it's always easy for people to criticize when they don't know the program that you've set for yourself and following. You know what's going to be
Exactly.
best for you. The people who are more or who are closest involved in everything know what that is and leave you alone or to not leave you alone, depending on what the
Exactly,
view
yeah.
is. So, like you say, that at some point you'll get back to the point that you'll be satisfied with, but you know
Yeah,
it won't be immediately, or probably won't be.
exactly, yeah. And if anyone says that they can bounce back when they've got severely injured, then I don't really believe that, because there's no way that you can bounce back from something exactly the same as what you were before after. Like you're always so much more cautious, like always. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And then we touched on it a little bit already, but let's get fully into it now. As we're caught up on the life of Brooke and career so far
Yeah.
this year, ambitions, plans, what's going on? What are we doing?
So obviously one of my biggest ambitions is to win that flipping race, because if I don't, like I said, I actually think I'm gonna lose my marbles, because just what the hell. Um But now I've got two different cars. I want to be a lot more consistent. One of these cars is a car that I've never raced before, so I understand that it's probably not going to be as
There's two
amazing.
different definitions of consistency that you'll want to be striking there. Then,
Yeah, but I know that I'm not going to be as good straight away in this one car because I've never raced it before. So, we're just, and as well, we're learning as well. My dad's raced F1s previously, but
hmm,
he's never fully like been in there, like setting it up, like knows exactly what to do if this. We're kind of learning ourselves and learning what's best for what different condition, or like if this happens, blah blah blah, whatever. So it's kind of a learning curve for us as well, and we're still kind of like getting used to that. So it's just kind
hmm.
of building our confidence. That's another thing that we're doing this year. We're just continuously trying to build on that knowledge and what to do if this and this happens. But like I said, win a race, that would be amazing. That would
I think it'd
be.
be quite poetic if you won it on the last corner. It'd be a nice parallel to have that after it was
Oh
taken
my
from
god,
you on the
yeah.
last time. So do that to someone
It's
else. That'd be nice.
especially if I had like a lot of people that supported me at said meeting, because there's this one track that is called Mildrenal, and I was one lap. Was it one or two laps? It was either a one lap dash or two lap dash. So I was winning the race. I was winning it by a mile, right?
Hmm.
And as you do, yellow flags. Every time, yellow flags. So we're two laps or one lap away, whatever it was. So there's me, and there's all these flashing lights around me because all the superstars are right behind me, and I'm like, oh my god,
Exactly
like
what I wanted.
literally, and I'm right at the front of that train. And if anyone knows Mildenhall, it is a very small track. It is one of the, or if not the smallest track that we can literally race on, and it's shale. Not fun when you're right at the front of a train. So my mind, literally, I think I spoke to myself in the helmet, just send it. Literally, just send it. So I thought, I'm gonna make a right mug of myself if I move out the way now. Because like, what if someone behind me like doesn't get it into gear or like is hit and then
They could all
like
crash into each other behind, and you can just be going off into the
exactly,
sunset. So,
exactly. So I was like, just go for it. At least then people can't make fun of me as well because
hmm,
I've like moved out the
you're
way.
not you're
So
not you're
I
not just giving up. Yeah, exactly. You're
literally,
going
yeah,
for it.
yeah. So I was like, just go for it. Like, what's worse that can happen, right? So
Exactly.
just went for it. Didn't win the race. I ended up getting stuck on someone else's car, which was unfortunate. But when I watched the video back, there was so many people like screaming my name. Like I was like, oh my goodness, like I've never felt so like appreciated in my life. I was like, if I would have won that race, like I just
It would have
I don't
gone
know.
nuts.
I like reminisce that feeling what I could have felt like if all them people like were screaming for me if I was on the pace car like waving my trophy like
Hmm.
oh my god I've actually won my first race. But yeah, so like I said anyway, that would be great to win
That's another
a
to-do list for
race.
this year.
Yeah, to win a race, but especially and specifically if a lot of people are there, because
Hmm.
like a lot of people are there that support me, because that will be an incredible feeling. Another thing that I want to do this year is I mentioned about the grades before. I'd like to
Hmm.
move up the grades. So last year I wasn't as consistent or whatever as what I'd want to be this year. Obviously, every year you want to improve. And this year, I'd like to get more places. And the better places I get, the higher up the grades I move. I am very nervous to move up the grades, don't get me wrong, because the
Well,
higher
it
up
means
you
you
go,
must be doing something right, so you get the pressure then, and you've got to do it
yeah,
all over again.
literally, like, and when you move up, like, the better people are behind you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
they're all like competing for it. Like, yeah, like, it's stressful, but that it's kind of what you want to get out of it, like the work that like we put in, like we paint the roof a new color. I mean, hopefully, and at the start of the season it's a lot more easier to move up the grades because everyone starts on nothing, everyone
Hmm.
starts on zero. So you finish the grade that you finished the year before, you
And
start
so
that
just because you did well last year doesn't mean that we're going to treat you like that this
exactly.
year. It all goes back to basics.
All goes back to zero and then you gain points. So because everyone's on the same level, if I went out and got
Ideally, you
consistently
go and win that first race, and then
exactly,
immediately get promoted.
if if I'm consistent at the start of the season and get all these points, then it's inevitable that I would make it to yellow. So I would like to do that. I don't know if blue's on the cards yet. I mean, hopefully it is, but
You'll take it if
who
it
knows?
comes your way.
Who exactly? Yeah, I'd take it if it comes, whatever. But I'd love to, but hopefully we can. But who knows? But yeah, I think painting that roof yellow would literally like, well, yeah, you just want to move up
I
the
feel
grades,
like we
don't you?
see enough yellow in motorsport anyway, so it would
Literally.
be good to just get it for at least you're easy to spot then, if nothing else.
Literally, yeah. Any other goals? I don't know really if I've set myself any. I kind of try not to expect too much out of myself because I
And
know
so
how
if
much
it fits with what you were saying, you just kind of take it as it comes and
I
kind
do.
of prepare for the
Literally,
best and hope, and not, well, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's the way around to put it.
exactly, yeah. Like I just kind of take everything as it comes. Like I try not to put too much pressure on myself because I know that I do anyway. So then if I
Hmm.
start setting myself all these goals that I want to do this and this and this and this, if I don't achieve it, I will be very annoyed and very upset. So
Or,
I just
or in this case, if you have those goals, but you won't stick a strict time limit on it, because then there will be that pressure. It's kind of, it would be nice to do X, Y, Z, but
yeah,
by the
exactly.
end of however long this career is going to go on for, at least
Exactly,
then you
yeah.
can just say, okay, if it doesn't happen this year, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, like I just go out there and I just push for the absolute best what I can be and then whatever I get out of it is great. And when something good does happen, it's a great feeling. It's a great moment. But yeah, like I said, I try not to put all these big like I want to do this because when you don't achieve them, you're just kind of like, yeah,
Because you're
yeah, I
already
don't
going to be
feel
looking
right.
back and assessing what you did right, what you did wrong anyway. So
Exactly,
if it
yeah.
does, unless you're someone who strives under that kind of pressure, it's not going to do you any
Yeah.
favors.
Yeah, I just try and push for 100% all the time and then go with it. Like, you know what I mean?
Couple of quick fire questions for you on the back of that then. You've had a good few different eye-catching liveries. Do you have a favourite one so far?
A favorite memory on track.
Livery
Livery.
on the car.
Interesting question, actually. Well, I might actually have to say my purple mini stock because when that got done, I was literally in awe. So we get our cars signed right by somebody called Chris Signs, and I do like my pink F1, but
There's something
this
about the
purple.
purple.
There was something about the purple one. I just loved it. I loved it to bits. We've still got the shell now, and don't get me wrong, it looks nothing like what it did. Got its time written in 2022, so it looks nothing like what it did back then. And especially because my sister used it, and then she decided to roll it over when the shell was supposed
I'm
to
sure
be
she
an
did that
on.
deliberately just to annoy you as well. So
Probably, yeah. I would not be surprised because I told my dad specifically this shell and bonnet is ornament only.
well,
Is
that's where you
not
went wrong.
going
Shouldn't have
anywhere
said
else.
that. As soon as you
And
said that,
then,
something bad was going to happen.
literally, so then she decided to roll the car over and scrap the one that she had on it. So what was next? My one that is an ornament. So what does she go and do then? Roll that car over as well.
Couldn't
Brilliant.
have written itself better if it tried.
It's literally just stuck on together with some metal plates. Like it's looked better. It's definitely had better days. But that would definitely be my favourite one.
Favorite track?
Favorite track?
We know which
Mm,
one is your least favorite from previous stories, so I feel like we should balance that out a little bit.
favorite track? Probably Skegness Raceway. I'm gonna say Northampton, which is a shale track because I got fastest lap round there. I also rolled. I had my first ever rollover in F1s there as well. So it's kind of a bit 50-50 with that one. But
I was going to say,
I
was
got
that
fastest.
contributing to be your favorite? There was an interesting way of measuring that.
Well, it kind of was my fault because I was really angry. And I think I spun out earlier on in this race, and I was really angry that I done that. So I did just send it a little bit too hard. Went into and when we're on shale, we're drifting round the corner. So I was sideways sending the car into a corner and clipped a big mark tire. So my car just went up in like bounced up in the air and then barrel rolled a few times. And
You're going to
I
do it properly.
literally, but sadly it was in a Grand National, so a lot of people had left by then, but a lot of people did see it and they've got a
I was going to say,
perfect
on the
video
flip
of it
side,
as well.
not too many people see it, but still seen it. So again, you're really going
Exactly,
giving and
yeah.
taking with the
Yeah,
story.
balance it out. But I think I'd definitely say that my favourite tarmac track is Skegness or Venray because every single time I've gone to Venray, I've nearly won every single time. So I must be doing something right there. And
Fingers
then
crossed this year's the year
literally,
for it.
and then my favourite shale track is probably Northampton because I've got fastest lap there. And I don't think I'm too bad there either. Or Mildenhall, where I nearly won. Basically, my favourite
I
tracks
should
are
have
the
been
ones.
stricter with this question because you're just going for very different
I
reasons
was
here.
gonna
But
say
we'll
I'm
get
gonna
all of
start
them in.
naming all the tracks in a second. But no, as everyone's probably is. My favourite tracks are the ones I've done best at, and my least favourite tracks are the ones that I've literally done terrible at.
It'll
But
be
yeah.
interesting to see if that changes if you win at one of those tracks. And
Yeah,
you know what? I
literally.
always loved it. It was just character building the whole time.
The second I win a race. Oh yeah, that one's always been my favourite track. Literally.
And then, if you could improve one thing about the stock car world in the UK, what would it be?
If I could influence something.
Improve one thing.
Improve.
I suppose it's
Improve.
influencing it in a way as well. So
Yeah, if I can improve one thing. Um Probably the crowd, because
okay.
so in like the 19 from like the 1970, obviously I wasn't actually there, but from like the 1970s to like I want to say like 1990 or whatever, like
Mhm.
that people will say there was so many people at a stock car track that you literally, it was like sardines. There was so
Mhm.
many people following it because like I've had someone say to me before, if you didn't if we didn't go stock car racing, then the only other place for us to go would be to church, and none of us were going to church, so we're gonna go stock car racing.
That would be a great thing to have on a t-shirt.
Literally. So actually you just sprung an idea there. Thanks.
Just
But
saying.
yes. So yeah, that's definitely something I'd improve, because the crowd isn't the
Why do you
crowd
think
is
that's
still,
changed?
I don't actually know, to be honest. I think because
I
there's a
love how I'm
lot
asking
more.
you because you weren't there when it happened the first time, so there's no reason you should know
Literally.
now. But I'm just curious
Why
if you had
why is that
a
strange?
thought
Oh, I
on that
don't know.
one. But
Um, well, I think first of all, there's a lot more things to do now, like I said, than
it's
people
not just the
wanting to
two
go to.
options.
Literally. So I think there's a lot more options that people could like spend their weekend. So, and I think a lot of people like it just ended up being a very known thing, but then all kind of them people from back then, that it's kind of not been passed down. And it's just because it started, stock car racing started around that time, so it was a known thing, and then it's not kind of been passed down like it has been for a lot of us families. So
Do you
yeah,
find that there's not as many new people coming in around your age, let's say, and like in that age group at least, and coming in?
um,
Is that, or is it just? I'm trying to think if
I
there's not
mean,
as many young people coming in to take part. Maybe that's where the crowd's coming in. But 'cause you're saying most of the competitors there 40 plus or whatever. So I was just trying to see if
yeah.
maybe there was something there.
So there's a lot of people that you see coming from grass track racing. Some of them go-karts, but a lot of them are from grass track. Um, and also as well, it's like the friend like communication is like, oh, like my friend said this was decent, so let's just go. And
Hmm.
there's a bit of a mix really. But I'd say a lot of it is still from people it being passed down, but there's not, that's like, I don't know, 20, probably like 20% of all the people that you used to get back then. But yeah, it's kind of like stock cars, once it's kind of in a family, it just kind of like ends up going that way, and it just kind of is like
That's the
stock
path for
cars
the
is
next
all.
few hundred years.
Literally, stock cars is all we've ever known. So let's bring that down our whole family tree. And
Mhm.
myself, that is what's happened. And am I going to bring, hopefully, my future children into stock cars? Yes, I am. 1,000,000% yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be an interesting thing to measure because, like you say, with there being so many more options and then motorsport being raised, you'd think with the commercialization so much of other motorsport series, there'd be maybe a return to some of the racing series like this, where it's you still have good racing, it's not extortionate prices. You can go
Yeah,
and not anyone can take part, sort of thing, but it's more accessible for everyone to get in at whatever level to get in there. So maybe there'll
exactly.
be that's like balancing out, and it won't just require you to
Yeah.
to fund it for the future and get every family member involved in
I
that way,
feel
and you'll
like
get more
I feel
people
like
that way.
yeah, I feel like stock cars are like the hidden gem of motorsport. Like a lot of people that like when I've been to like different events or like networking events or
Mm.
spoke to people in general, like online, they're literally like, I've never heard of stock cars in my life. And I'm like, well, let me tell you, like
That was the wrong thing to
this,
say to me because you're about to get a whole
literally,
TED talk on it.
literally, I am not going to stop talking now. But it is really the hidden gem of motorsport. And if someone even watched videos online, I mean, I'm sure if you watched any videos online, it's like if you like search, I don't know, like crash compilation or something,
There'll
like
be plenty of those.
yeah, you're literally like, oh my goodness, like this is nuts. Like, how is this real people in these cars? Because, you know, a crash isn't just like a one-off, like, oh my god, like this person is like it is guaranteed. Like a crash is guaranteed because we go out there, our cars are built to hit each other. Like we go out there
It's
and
part of the game.
yeah, literally, it is part of how you're getting to the front of the pack. You know, we're not going around the outside of each other. We're not trying to like sneak up the inside. Like, if someone's
We'll
in
go
your
through
way,
you.
then you literally, if someone's in your way, then off you pop, mate. Like, see ya, because this is a contact game, and we're gonna hit you. So that's literally what it is. And I think a lot of people, yeah, they just don't know about stock cars. They don't know what stock cars are. Like, they've never seen a race. Like, and it's not like it's not hard to go and watch a race. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
search up fixtures, blah blah blah, or like say like, well, I'm near Kings Lynn. My closest track is Kings Lynn, and I do see posters up like everywhere, like
Mm.
Adrian Flux Arena, like this. But literally, go in, pay your fee, and off you go.
That's
Like,
it.
you know, you're in then, and then do what you want. Have a few drinks, whatever, get yourself some food. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not as glam and glorious as what a meeting would be at Brands Hatch or Silverstone or whatever. You know, you're not really gonna get any like VIP packages, or you can go and pay £2 to go sit in the grandstand, but it's
I don't.
real
I think that's. I don't
grassroots.
think that's why you're going for that sort of thing anyway, because you want to have the nitty gritty. You want to have what you were saying earlier with how you approach
Literally,
your videos. You want to have the authentic experience of it. You don't want it to
yeah,
be, if you want that sort of thing, you can go and do F1 or
exactly.
whatever. But
And
if you just want the real gritty,
yeah,
let's
if
go
you
for
want,
it.
yeah,
Here
literally,
is something for
if
you.
you want the nitty gritty, like get race cars with stock cars as well, you can go into the pits, so you've got access to go and spectate in like around the outside of the track, and then also you've got access to go into the pits. You can just walk in there, like it's literally you just walk through wherever the pits are, complete access, and no one has like you. When I went to Brands Hatch, like people have like tents or like barricades or
Mm.
like where like you can't like go in, or like it's super duper like clean and stuff like that. Like we've got them on jacks, axle stands under them. People are like laying inside of the cars, like underneath, like on the dirty floor. Like you can get like as up close and personal within reason as you want. Like, you know, you're there and you can see exactly what's going on. And a lot of stock car people are up for a chat. Like a lot of people come up to me and speak to me. I've got no clue who they are, but you just stand there and have a chat with them. Like you've got no idea who
Mm.
they are, but you're like, oh, all right, mate. Like, how's your meeting going? Oh yeah, it's going like blah blah blah. Like,
But
you
again,
know,
some of the time, that's all that people want is the ability to be able to do that, even if the conversation is
exactly.
the blandest conversation that either of you have ever had. It's the fact that they can do that because they know that if they'd gone to a different motorsport series, for example, they wouldn't even get through the gates to get into that
No,
part of the circuit. So,
literally, they wouldn't even be able to interact with any of these people. But at stock cars, you've got full access. Like, go and chat to that driver. Like, sometimes a lot of the drivers they're dotted around bloody everywhere, and there's always a lot of damage to be fixed. So, you know, they're normally everywhere. Like, oh, do you have this spare part? Like, we've not brought it with us. Blah 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 blah. And then, you know, they'll be everywhere. But you've got that access. You've got that access to be as up close and personal and see exactly what's going on and what people are doing. And yeah, and they're always up for a chat and yeah.
few non-motorsport-ish questions to finish things off then. And first of all, you're saying that you've got your YouTube series, which you're doing at the moment, which I will stick
Yeah.
a link to below for whoever's
Thank
watching
you.
and listening to this. But you also have your own podcast, which is
Yes,
motorsport adjacent, but also nothing to do with motorsport at all. So talk to me a bit about
literally.
that.
So I've obviously got my YouTube, as you mentioned. So my YouTube is stuck in, week out. I'll record a video, I'll of whatever we're doing at the yard, because that's what people want to see. Like, this is in real time what we do. I record it and then chuck it on the internet for everyone to be nosy and have a look what we do. So basically, yeah, that is all about motorsport, about my racing, and sometimes I'll even chuck a video in of my little sister racing as well. But my podcast. So, as you or as anyone that is watching this may be able to tell, I talk a lot and I can talk for days. Literally, get me started talking about anything, and I am chatting away for days and days and days, especially about stock cars, which is exactly what we're talking about today. Anyway, so I like talking, and something that I'm really passionate about is talking about well-being, talking about mental health, talking about anything, like talking about emotions, talking about how people feel, deep conversations. Like, that is my favorite thing ever. Like, if any of my friends or anyone, like, if I've got a chance to talk, have a deep conversation with someone, then I'm straight there. I'm like, right, why do you feel this way? Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I thought, what better thing to do than release my own podcast about well-being and having these conversations about feelings, about why people feel a certain way. And I always thought, how cool would it be if someone like invited me to like their podcast to like talk about something like that, or invited me just whatever, just to talk about wherever podcast or whatever else you can do it on. I don't know. Still getting used to its technology stuff. Anyway, so I thought, no one knows who I am. No one knows I'm interested in talking about this type of stuff. Like, so why don't I just do it myself? So anyway, so that's what I did. And because I already had that YouTube platform, I was already putting myself out there on the internet.
Mm.
So I think it would have been a lot more harder for me to like go and out the blue start that podcast. Like, if I didn't have my YouTube, because I'm already putting myself out on the internet anyway.
Mm.
So anyway, I thought, what better thing to do than start a podcast? Because why should I be sat here waiting around for like someone to ask me that question? Like,
You'll be
I can
thinking all
just
this stuff yourself anyway. You'll be talking about it to yourself, if no one else anyway.
exactly,
You might as
yeah,
well share it with people.
exactly. And all of my friends, well, I like to think anyway, that like when I give them deep chats or like we have a deep conversation, they actually take in what I say and they're like, wow, that actually really helped me. And I really would like to help other people as well, because, I'm just passionate about that, and I just really want to help at least like one person like just feel better about a situation, because I don't know, I I feel like I'm very good at thinking outside of the box and thinking
Mhm.
about different things and blah blah blah, and like unpuzzling things and being like, right, just stop, let's think about this and let's break this down. So that's kind of why I started it, and I'm in the process of doing something very big for my podcast, which I'm going to release on one of my episodes. So
What a
yeah,
tease. Just dropping that in there
yeah.
with no details
Well,
whatsoever. Very mean.
literally, but I'm in the process of doing something very big for my podcast, and yeah, I'm going to be releasing that very soon once I've figured out one thing, because again, I'm not very good with this technology stuff. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, it's going to totally change my whole podcast, and yeah, it's an ever growing thing. I mean, I've only done 2 episodes so far, but there's so many things I could talk about, and like literally you think like there's a million different like situations that people can be in, and I could just talk about that for days, and like I
Mm.
like have a like few bullet points on my iPad and then I'm off. Then like, I unpuzzle every single thing and I'm like, okay, so blah 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 blah. And yeah, it's just about like helping people and making people not feel so alone, because I know there's people that don't have other people to speak to. And as I feel like every single person in life has gone through something that has literally like changed them forever. And the worst thing is if you go through that situation and you've got no one to speak to or nobody to relate to, because you just feel so alone in a situation and you're just like, oh my goodness, like I've got nobody to talk to and nobody gets me. But I want people to know that like I understand them and they can like listen to me, and they know that someone actually out there can understand the situation that they're in and actually hopefully maybe help them, or like if I speak about ways how I've dealt with a certain situation, then they
Hmm.
can kind of take advice from that and think, oh, okay, this is another way to look at it. And yeah.
I'm sensing a potential future where it's sort of therapist to you during the week and then stock car racing at the weekends. It would be quite a good duopoly potentially.
Literally. So hopefully in the far future, well, hopefully like right now, but that's not going to happen. I can make this kind of into some sort of a job, and I can actually like earn my wage and do this as a living. So
Hmm.
obviously I've got all my stock car stuff, I've got my YouTube stuff, and then I'd love to actually one day be able to do talks, so like stand up in front of like people, and the right word is panel, like be like
Hmm.
panel like for, I don't know, like a school or like an event, or like I don't know if it was like depending on the event, like if I paneled at like a motorsport event, I could talk about motorsport, or like if
Hmm.
they wanted me to talk about like confidence or something like that. Because I was thinking the other day, like even the fact that like I'm 17 and I race stock cars, I've started up myself like doing my YouTube, and then I'm doing my podcasting, and then a lot of people would say I'm like beyond my years. Like maybe people would want me to
I was going
speak
to say,
about
if
that.
people were just listening to you, they didn't know, they probably wouldn't guess. But they probably think, oh, okay, I've gone too young with the initial guess. I've got to go older. They're not going to go
Yeah,
any lower than what their initial guess is going to be.
literally. So I feel like, or maybe I could even tie it into one, like confidence and racing. Like the list goes on, but that's another thing I like to do. And there's lots of different things that I want to do. So hopefully one day I can make that into some sort of a job, because I'd love to do this as, I mean, that's what I'm kind of doing it for, because I want to do
Hmm.
this. I want this to be
Combine your two
my day
passions.
job. And literally, yeah, like two things that I'm hugely passionate about, and what better than that to make it into a career?
Completely different left field question on the other scale of things. Which fictional world from books or films would you want to live in?
Oh, I don't know. Like, what do you mean by that?
Is there, so say you've got Lord of the Rings on one hand, but or you've got Star Wars or Harry Potter, those kind of fictional worlds where it's completely different. If you could choose one to live in, it doesn't have to be
Just
any of those, but
just
as just
just just
examples.
in general? Just in general,
Yeah.
like,
If you've ever read a book or seen a film where you're like, oh, that'd be fun to live in that world
well,
or that universe.
well. A lot of people don't know this, but my favorite film is Jurassic Park, because
Oh, you're living dangerously.
yeah. So I I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't like to be stood right next to a dinosaur, but I always thought like, I don't know, it's just super cool, and that's always been my favorite film, like ever since I can remember. So
Hmm.
yeah, that'd be pretty
Okay.
bloody cool, wouldn't it? So
I can see you getting in the Jeep and trying to race that as fast as you can to get away from all of the dinosaurs.
literally, yeah, a lot of people do not know that's my favorite film, but there we
They're gonna
go.
now.
Exactly. There you go, guys.
So I'm trying to think how many different memes can we incorporate into various race weekend content for the future. That's a topic for another time,
Literally.
maybe. And then final question: would you rather have a bird's head for a head and then keep the rest of your normal human body, or a bird's body for body but keep your human head?
Bird's body.
Bird's body, human head.
Absolutely.
Do you
Don't
think you
know
can still
why.
drive like that?
Well, probably not.
I'm going to
No.
go practical with this. I know it's unreasonable of me, but I'm going to ask the
Well, I think
question.
we're going too deep into it now. Let's just think. Just a bird's body. We'll
Bird's
cross
body.
that other bridge when we get to
We'll find a way.
it. Literally.
Uh, Well, on that note, if nothing else, perfect way
Literally,
to end the chat.
on that note,
Um,
you'd rather have a bird's body. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.
Pretty much. I can just cut it there. I don't even need to do my outro
Yeah,
now.
literally.
Chloe's
Thanks
done
for
it for me.
watching. See you later. Bye.
It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. As you alluded to, I'm not going to be the first one to say this. I'm definitely not going to be the last one to say it. But you seem wise beyond your years already, so it's going to be very interesting
Thank
to
you so
see
much.
what happens with you next, and hopefully that first race win in this category comes this year. Fingers crossed. I'll say it quietly.
Yeah,
And
like,
I say we'll do this again in like 10 years and see, and hopefully we won't be having that same conversation.
well, there's a lot of people out there that, were or have been racing for 10 years and they still haven't got their first race win. So let's not manifest that, because I do not. And I can't wait. Hopefully next year, one of my titles for my YouTube videos is going to be, I got my first race win. And
We shall
hopefully that's going to
manifest
be my
that.
successful video. So everyone keep a watch out for that on my YouTube, because hopefully it's coming soon. But who knows? Who actually knows? Well, you've jinxed it now, haven't you? So
I'm trying not to say anything now.
literally,
I'm screwed either way. Yeah, at least
literally,
you have someone to blame. You get to the end of December, you go, well, we know whose fault this
literally,
is. He did in February, and I was buggered from that moment on.
yeah. I message you after I nearly win again, and then I don't. It's all your fault.
Oh, please don't do that to me. Just go and win.
Literally, I've got it on video evidence now. Do not edit this bit out.
Damn it. I was going to say, two minds, two minds. I'll see. Hopefully, I'll edit that bit as in isolation, and then when you do win, I can say, it worked.
Yeah. What I said, it worked. That is what I'm hoping. And yeah, if you have manifested that, then thank you, because I clearly need that manifestation.
We'll try anything. We'll see if it works. As long as it works, that's the main thing, right?
Literally, yeah.
Well, anyway, thank you again, and pleasure chatting
You're
with you.
welcome. Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself chatting away as per usual.
Thank you again to Brooke for taking the time to chat, and best of luck for the rest of 2026. If you want more from Brooke, you can find links to her social media pages and podcasts in the show notes for this episode. I'll be back soon with another interview with someone from the world of motorsport, but in the meantime, thank you for watching and listening, and I'll catch you next time for more On the Kerbs.